As you got older, what is something difficult you had to accept about dating and relationships? The majority of people in bad relationships are not victims, but rather just one half of a two-person problem. Most people I know did not form healthy attachment styles from their caregivers growing up, and also never did the work as adults to be capable of a healthy relationship. Basically, the majority of people are simply not capable of supporting a healthy romantic relationship due to trauma, mistrust, and a lack of coping communication skills. And those who are going to find themselves pulling all the weight in all their relationships before they inevitably decide to stay single. Put in the work. Relationships have issues. People walk away too quickly, myself included. I always said I have no tolerance for bullshit, so I would leave. Looking back, I wish I had stayed and worked through the bullshit. It was not anything unfixable. It just felt that way at the time. Had I stayed married, we would be watching our children enter college and embark on life together instead of separately. It makes me horribly sad sometimes. On the flip side, don't move too fast. People talk a good game but almost never deliver. That perhaps not everyone is really suited to them. I've slowly come to the conclusion that I think there isn't actually some mystical perfect person out there for me. I think I'm just too fucked up, if I'm honest. That's not to say that I've tried to better myself or work on my issues. I think that the years have been hard and I'm exhausted from it all. The type of person I would have to be for the person who may be interested is so unlikely that I might as well just be single and learn to be happy. No one cares if you're a good person. It's really about how you make them feel. This truth is at the core of human relationships. Whether it's cloaked in trauma bonding is irrelevant. Bad people still get into relationships. Bad people still get laid. No one is saying compromise your values. But if you want to learn how to seduce, influence and capture people's imagination, you have to learn to make them feel some type of way about themselves. That I'm a good person doesn't make you attractive. We were both about 60 when we married, having met through a national widower support group on Yahoo. It wasn't intended as a connection group. But stuff happens. We both had to adjust to a different spouse who did not know the inside jokes or had different interests. I miss playing Scrabble, going camping, or Asian food restaurants. She misses having a guy doing woodworking projects as gifts for the village and family. It took maybe 2 years to adjust. It was worth it. I haven't had that feeling of butterflies and that kind of excitement, head over heels, heart skips a beat type feeling since I was 14. Last time that happened, I took a chance at getting to know a girl I liked. Backfired horribly. Ended up going through the rest of my school life depressed. Followed me until relatively recently. Still won't get that feeling again. I'm okay with it. All I'm looking for is a partner that I can tolerate as a friend. That'll be enough for me. Dating when you're in middle school and high school is usually really pure and young. But the sad thing is no one has the brains during those times to really enjoy being pure and young. You get to be college age plus, and dating love becomes so serious you wish you could just simplify love again. Not knowing any better as a kid was the best way to date. But not knowing any better is your downfall when you're young. It's a double-edged sword you can't dull when you're that age. Some people, when they are done with you, will choose to leave in cold, cruel ways. They treat you terribly towards the end of the relationship instead of just communicating and ending things themselves. They might pursue the heck out of you in the beginning, but when they are done, they will treat you like crap and somehow try to turn it around and vilify you. I honestly don't even see the point of relationships anymore because I can be single and not treated poorly. You don't keep to everyone in this life. Whether we like it or not, we will lose every single person we love in this life at some point. Better said in the movie Inception, something like, here with her. Something like that, or, there's literally almost nothing you can do if someone's trauma keeps showing itself. You can try to be supportive, but if they don't understand themselves, it's literally only gonna keep blowing up in your face too. They're nothing like what you were most likely lead to believe in movies, books, songs, etc. When you stop trying to meet criteria, Just open yourself up to people and spend time with people that don't feel like work to be around. You just kind of fall into a relationship that works. My wife is not who I would have imagined myself with when I was young. But she's a part of me, and me of her, and I love her more than she probably ever realize. There is a significant portion of women in my generation who suffer significant discomfort or pain with vaginal sexual intercourse. I'm not insulting them or dismissing them. I literally had no idea how widespread and common this is. I previously had only one partner for a quarter century. So only one data point. This is even with a lot of foreplay, lubricant, all of those ameliorants. They also report similar with previous partners. The older you get, the more screwed up your options are. If you are in your 50s, you are going to be dating people who have been divorced maybe multiple times or widowed and have significant damage from that. Or worse ... Those who are so fucked up to start with, they never maintained a steady relationship in their life, which is why they are still on the market. Although to be fair, this may start as young as 40. Women will have the upper hand, or leverage up until the tides turn around 30. So old male friends and relatives, and they're all thriving now dating-wise. But they said when they were younger they were competing for attention from women with guys that are 10-15 years older, lol. They said it's easy and now that they're older. That sucks as someone younger hearing that. But it is what it is. Despite what my family tells me, I do not need someone in my life to make it great. In fact, the most miserable I've been was when I was actively looking for a partner or a few weeks into a relationship when the honeymoon phase ends. As I am unwilling to make any kind of compromise for another's happiness, I have made the executive decision to get out of the pool. I've been happy with the results so far. I went through my hoe phase at 23. Up to that point I had only ever been with my very wonderful and sweet partner. I had only ever been treated well and with respect. And I very naively thought that if I treated others well, I would be treated well in return. As a result, I was not as discerning about choosing sexual partners as I now know to be. Learning how wrong I was about that was a hard lesson. That I am the guy women settle for, astronomically great on paper, but unattractive. At the end of the 7-year, 4-year and 1-year relationships, they all said the same thing. I never loved you. And I finally stopped dating 10 years ago and have been much happier. I dip my toes back in the dating pool every 5 years only to find that nothing has changed and bail out for another 5 years. A person who seems to be the safest option isn't necessarily the best partner for life. Sometimes it's better to have different opinions on things than to have someone with no option at all. Being different to a certain extent can actually be a benefit to your personal growth. However, it can be hard to accept this because it's easier to just stay with someone who always agrees that I don't think I'm designed for them. They all bring hassle in some shape or form. I know it's not my job to make someone happy, but you have to make them not sad. And I cannot be bothered to constantly have to think of any action I take it don't take. Single, you just have to worrying about yourself. If I'm not happy then only I can change that or need to. We'll see. The longer you are together and the more your lives become intertwined, the more work required. You need time for yourselves and time for each other. There is more time spent doing housekeeping once you get married, have kids, own a house, take care of parents, etc. Things can get infinitely better as time goes on, but you have to be ready to put in the effort. That I wasn't going to be involved in it. Like ever. I always thought that my life might be shit now. But I'm just a bit behind. It will sort itself out and I'll be a normal person and get to do normal person things. But life never happened to me. I'm 39 and don't even know how to approach a woman. Never have. I have the relationship experience of a 5-year-old. Realizing that I can't control everything, by that I mean I cannot control whether this person I care so much for will die tomorrow or in 100 years. I think what I mean is the not knowing, you know? Having to take that leap of trust that is sometimes, if not many times, broken. But when it's so right and worth it. I hope my babbling makes sense, lol. Empathy is the real superpower There are a lot of incompatible people out there. There are a lot of toxic people out there. You have to churn through a lot of them to find somebody you can live with. If you keep trying over and failing, you're probably the incompatible, toxic person, and you might want to see a therapist and work on yourself. At my age 50, everyone has been through some things that have shaped their outlook on what relationships look like, or at least for them in the past. Have to realize that the same goes for you. You will almost never meet someone who presents the exact same desires as you might. But as you grow closer, you can form mutual desires for a relationship. For me, understanding that due to age, my husband and I are likely going to predecease our wife. Generally speaking, every harsh word you speak about your ex in your child's hearing range will be absorbed and internalized by your child. Don't damage their sense of self to score a temporary point, because you're mourning the end of your marriage. That not everyone you date has to be the one you spend your life with, get married to. Like, it's okay for things to not work out. It's okay to break up. Sometimes it cannot and will not work out, and instead of spending eternity trying to make it work, you can leave at some point and just accept it. It is really not the end of the world. That once you hit late 20s, a lot of people have at least one kid, so you kinda have to think about if you date somebody with a kid already, or at least that's what my friends, both men and women, are finding. It's not a bad thing exactly. It can be difficult if you don't want kids, but a lot of people in the dating pool have them.